And over to the Cayman Islands, we have a little action island presented for you today. We're going to focus on the game with a little bit more fireworks expected. Yep, that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Baltimore Ravens. Gilles Gallant could not make our flight. He actually missed it, so we had to call in our backup, Grant Neiffer, and he made our flight. He's coming here to the Cayman Islands alongside Sean Koerner and Nick Giffen. If it's your first time watching Action Island, here's how things are going to go. Each of these experts are going to give out two possible options for a same game parlay. We're going to vote one in and then vote one out. And the end result, a three-leg SGP to get you through Monday Night Football. Nick Giffen, you are up first, my friend. Where are we headed for the possible first two legs?
Yeah, well, I am going to go with the pick I gave out for this game earlier, and that is the first half over for Baltimore and Tampa Bay. Like I said, everything here pointing to the over, especially in the first half, team's first half splits, advantageous quarterback matchups, and both expected scores and team actual scores going way over not only the first half total, but also the full game total. I just want to focus on the first half here because of the second half implications. So first pick, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, first half over 24.5 points. Second pick, I am going to go with the prop I've been on all year, Baker Mayfield, over half an interception, minus 135. Look, I just, Baker, he tends to have turnover-worthy plays. He was at 3.5% last year. He's at 3% this year, already 5 interceptions. And Baltimore's defense, they only have 3 interceptions, but they've been incredibly unlucky. So that may be factoring a little bit of a discount in the market. Baltimore's defense has 10 turnover-worthy plays forced this year. That'd be closer to 6 interceptions normally, and they only have 3. They also had 29 passes defended, which again would be closer to around 5.5 interceptions. So definitely below expectation versus how good this defense has been. Maybe just a couple of unlucky bounces on those potential interceptions turn into luckier bounces or luckier catches, maybe not some drops, things like that. And Baker Mayfield throws a pick.
Yeah, definitely feels, both of these I definitely like a lot, and it feels like Baker Mayfield, always the guy that has the turnover-worthy plays, has kind of gotten lucky, and then last week we saw the interceptions start to come in. I don't think there's going to be any shortage against a good Baltimore Ravens defense, and one that you mentioned earlier is a pass funnel, so probably going to see more pass attempts, probably more chances for an INT. So Grant, Sean, we've got to get to voting. Baker INT or the first half over? All right, Baker INT or the first half over to start us off on this Monday night SGP. Let's show them in 3, 2, 1. Baker, first half over out of Grant. All right, we have Baker INT as the first leg of this SGP. Sean, I'll kick it to you first. Or I guess, yeah, Sean, I'll kick it to you. Why did you go with Baker INT with alongside myself?
This has been a long-standing Nick special, so we got to roll with it. Plus, this will help my Rachaad White under 7.5 attempts. I mean, they throw a pick, getting a trailing game script. So love his reasoning here. I think this is the way to go.
Yeah, the game script helping that, and definitely could also help the first half over if it comes early in on that game. I think this one, obviously, we talked about it earlier, has a chance for fireworks. Grant and I talked on 4-down territory. This one really feels like a high-scoring game that's inevitable to happen. But we'll move on. Baker INT as the first leg of this SGP. Grant Neiffer, you are up, my friend. What 2 legs are we looking at here?
So the first one I'm going with is Justice Hill over 15.5 receiving yards. I got a 15.5. You can find it between 16 and 17.5 right now. Might still keep moving, so you can get in now. Would probably be better. But he's been good this season. Like, I know he hasn't done too much in the last 2 games, 2 and 8 receiving yards, but he still had a fairly high snap count. A lot of this game should favor a little bit of passing to the running back. The Bucs have been just terrible at defending receiving running backs, giving up, I think, the 3rd most receiving yards to opposing running backs on the year. And They played one less game. Like their defense just kind of will funnel a little bit of passes there. I expect there to be a lot of plays in this game. Expect there to be a lot of scoring. Obviously, Derrick Henry's going to be in there 50-60% of the snaps, and he's going to be running the ball a ton. But Justice Hill, he's been solid this season. He's gotten 6+ catches twice this year. So the over is number 3 out of 6 games this year. But I think he's in for a decent game here. This line just seems too low, and I mean it's kind of evident by it moving, and I still think it's too low. And then the other one I'm going with, Baker Mayfield over passing yards. You can get between 254 and 259.5. The Ravens are massive pass funnel, giving up 3 yards per run on the year. Dead last in the league in allowing passing yards. First in the league in rushing yards by a decent amount. This is going to be a high-scoring game. There's a 50 total here. Baker's going to be passing. The Bucs already pass at the 3rd highest clip in the league and 3rd highest pass rate over expectation. So Baker's going to be slinging the ball all game long. This is a spot where they're probably going to be trailing with a 3.5-point spread, but even if it's close, they're still going to pass the ball a lot. This line's just a bit too low here. I like both these bets, but you guys pick which one you want.
Yeah, I like both of these as well. Grant, we needed you here because Nick and Sean usually come with the unders. I need someone in my life to help me push me toward an over. It makes sense with Justice Hill and also the blitz-heavy Bucs defense. Probably a couple more dump-offs that are in order to the running back. And then Baker, we talked about the Ravens being a pass funnel. It feels like he's going to be dropping back early and often. All right, Nick, Sean, we've got to get the voting. Justice Hill over receiving or Baker Mayfield over passing yards. All right, we've got the Justice Hill over 15.5 receiving or Baker Mayfield 260 plus passing. Let's show them. 3, 2, 1. Justice Hill, Baker. All right, doubling up with Baker Mayfield. We've got INT now over passing yards. Nick, why did you end up going with Baker over Justice Hill?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this is a massive pass funnel defense, right? Tampa Bay more likely to trail. So Baker can be pretty efficient, especially if he throws, kind of an early pick, gets them down, correlates almost, right? A pick typically sounds negative for the over passing yards, but a pick would be a good thing, especially if it leads to a quick Ravens score, right? So, I love this over here.
Yeah, hopefully it happens in their side of the territory. We can get a quick score, as you mentioned. Correlate well with the first leg of our SGP, which was Baker interception. The second leg now, the over on Baker's passing yards. Sean, Koerner, round us out with our 2 plays to choose from.
All right, so my first one, I'm going with the sack prop here. Nnamdi Madubuike of the Ravens to record a sack, sacking Baker Mayfield nonetheless, if you want to make this a true Baker parlay. You get this at plus 140 at Bet365. Love the value you're getting there, but, he got off to a bit of a slow start, but he's been on fire lately. 17 pressures over the last 4 games. That's the second most among defensive tackles. And Baker doesn't face too much pressure, thanks to Tristan Wirfs taking care of his blind side, but he can be prone to pressure coming up the middle. He's been sacked on 28% of pressures this season, which is a very high rate for a quarterback and is typically a stat the quarterback can control and is pretty predictive going forward. So I have Madubuike getting around 3.5 pressures here, with about a 57% chance he actually gets home to Baker. So again, love the value we're getting here at plus 140. And for my other one, I'm going back to the Rachaad White prop that I'm talking about, under 25.5 rushing yards. This is a matchup we've kind of discussed is just being a clear pass funnel matchup for the Buccaneers. The Ravens ranked 21st in DVOA against pass, 3rd against the run. So I think it just sets up perfect for this pass-heavy offense. And, White's coming back from a foot injury that, forced him to miss last week. Not sure if he's 100%. And this sounds like a full-blown 3-way running back committee with Sean Tucker making some noise last week. And Bucky Irving has been playing Rachaad White all season. So I think it's going to be tough for White to see enough carries here to clear this number.
Yeah, Todd Bowles saying he's riding with the hot hand in a 3-man backfield. And you mentioned it, coming back from injury. Feels like Rachaad White is fade material on this one. And then going Madubuike to get a sack. Those are our two options. A little plus money prop. Should we make it a three-way Baker Mayfield SGP, or do we go with Rachaad White under on rushing yards? Nick, Grant, let's get to voting. All right, do we go with a defensive prop, or are we sticking true with the offensive way? Let's show them in 3, 2, 1. Matabuki, Rachaad White. All right, all Buccaneers props. Instead of doing a Baker Mayfield SGP, we're just doing a Buccaneers SGP, rooting for a lot of Baker Mayfield and not a lot of Rachaad White. Grant, I'll ask you, why did you end up with White over the sack prop on Matabuke?
Well, I mean, other than the fact that I don't think I could spell, White going up against, I don't know if we said this, but a pass funnel. The Ravens are just the best rush defense in the league by a wide margin. White is not good. So the hot hand thing, I can't imagine Rachaad White getting hot versus this defense. I mean, we've seen him against a good run defense in Detroit before. 10 carries, 18 yards. He's not been good. And yes, he had that 56-yard run a few weeks ago. Outside of that, I don't think he's had one longer than 17 rushing yards or 17 yards. He's not going to get a ton of volume if they're splitting this 3 ways and giving everyone a series. Like, I can't expect him to be in there late in the game. Can't expect him to be running much late in the game. And I can't expect any efficiency out of this, considering the first 3 weeks of the season. First 4 weeks, he was averaging under 3 yards per rush. Like, the volume's not going to be there, and he's not efficient, and this is a tough matchup. Everything kind of points towards the under. And plus, we may only see him get 1 to 2 carries this entire game because he's not very good, and the other guys are pretty good. So everything points toward the under here.
Yeah, it definitely does. And listen, if you're having your bingo cards at home, the word pass funnel being said 10 times in this show has just hit. We're going with Rachaad White under rushing yards as the last leg of our same game parlay. You put the 3 together, that is Baker Mayfield to throw an interception, Baker Mayfield over passing yards, and then Rachaad White under on rushing yards. You put that all together, it's plus 525 over at Bet365. All right, Nick Giffen, Grant Neiffer, Sean Koerner, appreciate you 3 hopping on. Best of luck tonight, and I'm feeling good about this SGP. And if we do, you know, maybe Gilles has to get sick more often, guys. So thanks. And just a reminder, obviously, Gilles, please get well soon. Baker Mayfield to throw an INT. Started off our SGP from Nick Giffen. Baker Mayfield to go over his passing yards. A little correlated parlay from Grant Neiffer. And round us out, Sean Koerner fading Rachaad White in the battle of a hot hand backfield in Tampa Bay. You put all 3 of those together again, you get plus 525 over at Bet365.